One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Moon landing, one of the biggest achievements in human history. It teaches us the value of working together. The exciting adventure of exploring space grew stronger when we landed on the moon. The way we travel changed completely. Today, we will look closely at this historic event and the lessons we can learn from it. The race to explore space started back in 1957 with the launch of the Soviet satellite Sputnik 1. Countries around the world started with their space exploration program. This era became known as the space race. On October 1, 1958, United States created their civilian space program, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. In 1961, United States elected John F. Kennedy as their 35th president. Many Americans believed they were losing the race of exploration. But on May 25, Kennedy stood before Congress and proposed that the U.S. should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. On September 12, 1962, in Houston, Texas, President Kennedy famously said, "Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone." The challenge was to land a man on the moon and bring him back safely. After 5 years of work, scientists and engineers at NASA conducted the first unmanned Apollo mission. The Apollo program itself involved 400,000 engineers, technicians, and scientists, and cost $24 billion. By the mid-60s, NASA was consuming more than 4% of the U.S. federal budget. On January 27, 1967, NASA was testing their launch pad. Sadly, a fire broke out during the test run, and 3 astronauts, Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, were the first to give their life for the biggest adventures of all. This was a tragic event. The life of the 3 astronauts will not go in vain. NASA, remembering all 3, kept pushing on. The first mission in the U.S. to carry a crew into space was Apollo 7. In December 1968, Apollo 8 became the first crewed spacecraft to leave lower Earth orbit to reach Moon's orbit, and return with astronauts Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders. On March 1969, Apollo 9 did its test run by flying in low Earth orbit. Apollo 10 was the second mission to orbit the Moon. And then on July 16, 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin walked towards a 363-foot rocket that will use 7.5 million pounds of thrust to propel them into space and history. Watching from the crowd was the former President Lyndon Johnson and Vice President Spiro Agnew. Many more around the world were glued onto their TV screens. Everyone working at NASA was on their feet. The countdown starts, and at 9:32 a.m., the engine fires and clears the towers. For a split second, the world was silent.
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on
Apollo 11 had taken off from Kennedy Space Center. The spacecraft flies in the orbit, and 12 minutes later, mission controllers call translunar injection. It's time to head for the moon. 3 days later, and after traveling 240,000 miles, the crew is in lunar orbit. A day after that, Armstrong and Aldrin say goodbye to Collins and climbed into the lunar module. 2 hours later, Eagle begins its descent towards the moon's surface. Tension arises in mission control, as they cannot get a signal from the lunar module. Eagle's computer started to sound alarms. With only 30 seconds of fuel remaining in the tank, at 4:17, Armstrong radios, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Mission control erupts in celebration as the tension breaks, and a controller tells the crew, "You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again." After traveling more than 109 hours, 500,000 people are about to watch Armstrong walk down the ladder and take the first human step on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Aldrin joins him as well, saying, "Magnificent desolation." They explore the surface for 2.5 hours, collecting samples and taking photos. The astronauts did not only leave their mark in history books, but also with no wind. They have their footprints pasted on the moon. They then returned to the lunar module. The two men slept that night on the surface of the moon. The Eagle began its ascent back to the command module at 5:35 p.m. Armstrong and Aldrin rejoined Collins, and at 12:56 a.m. on July 22nd, Apollo 11 began its journey home, safely splashing down in the Pacific Ocean, where U.S. Navy welcomed them back. The three did tours and spoke on many occasions. The astronauts brought back 46 pounds of moon rocks for scientific research. The last astronaut to walk on the moon was Gene Cernan in 1972. As he was leaving moon's surface, he famously said, "We leave as we came, and God willing, as we shall return, with peace and hope for all mankind." With the advancements in technology, there is no doubt that we will again return to the moon. Moon landing improves our understanding of space, but it also teaches us the value of human behavior, the value of trust, working together, group achievement, collaboration, welcoming new ideas, having self-esteem, dreaming big, and the importance of using resources around you. The mission was a huge moment not only for the US, but for the world. Countries like Russia, Japan, China, the European Space Agency, Israel, and India have also joined the adventure of space exploration. So, for your adventures, whether you have a personal or a business goal, do dream big. Work with others and use resources around you. Until next time, have a good one.